A quick note before we get into the episode. Oversharing is a podcast for entertainment purposes only. It is not a medical podcast and does not constitute medical or psychological advice. Always seek the advice of your physician or mental health professional. Let's do an intention. This one is a voicemail, so let's roll the tape.
Hi, Dr. Naomi and Jordana. I was calling for an intention. I have two kids. I have 2 under 2, and as much as I love my toddler and I love her innocence and sweetness, and I find myself getting so frustrated when she takes longer than I want her to do literally anything. And so today we were walking up our front steps, and I'm carrying the baby and she's crying and I know she needs to be fed, and it's 100 degrees out. And my toddler is walking up behind me, sweetly looking at the flowers and picking up every little stick that she finds and then doubling back to pick up something that she dropped. And I want to let her be a kid and enjoy herself and walk slowly and be mindful. And it's the sweetest thing ever. And before my other baby, I would have enjoyed watching her and thought to myself, oh, how sweet is that? She is no rush. She is just doing her thing, enjoying her life. And now it literally drives me up a wall, and I have to really, really try hard not to be incredibly impatient. So I'm looking for an intention for those moments when I just want to be frustrated with her and I want to rush her and I want to be like, come on, kid, we got to get inside. The sister's crying. Let's go. And I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be that mom. So I would just really appreciate something I can say to myself in my head in those moments. To just, be more present with her and just kind of not be a total bitch. All right. Thank you guys so much. I love your podcast. I appreciate you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. As someone who had 2 under 2,
yeah,
what was your...
I didn't realize it until this moment, but I pictured myself
in her position
in my house where I was when I had that happening to me back in New York. I really like this question. And I think there are moments where she can do what she wants to do, which is slow down, ask herself kind of, why am I in a hurry? Let's say the baby had just been fed and has a fresh diaper and everything's fine, but the baby's just a little warm and she's crying, right? And she doesn't really need to eat or anything like that. There's just a little discomfort. Maybe someone's a little warm. The baby's warm. She's warm. There's a little sweat dripping down her boob crack. It's not comfy, she's a little bit uncomfortable and she's rushing to make herself more comfortable. I think that's a moment where she can pause and kind of say, well, why am I in a hurry? Because a lot of times we do hurry just in general, and nothing makes us realize that we're hurrying more than a toddler who's not hurrying.
Right.
Which, like she said, is a beautiful thing. They're not hurrying. They're not thinking about the schedule for the rest of the day. They're actually, what I get this listener wants to do is just enjoying the present. And sometimes you might be hurrying just because you're in the habit of hurrying. I catch myself doing that all the time. If I'm trying to get through a yellow light, I'm kind of why?
Right.
Just sometimes it's just your urge to automatically
be efficient,
want to get through. Yeah. When I'm not really in a hurry, not nowhere that I'm going that's so, time urgent, or sometimes there is, but a lot of times we just get in the habit of hurrying. So I think the first step is I would just ask herself, why am I hurrying? And if it's because you're hot, you can just breathe into that. It's uncomfortable. And that's something we've talked about on here. It is really nice to be able to tolerate discomfort and not have to hurry through discomfort. But in this particular case that she's writing about, which I think was her trigger that made her decide to call us. And I think you could hear the baby in the background, which was really cute. Yeah, it was little baby noises. It was actually really cute. If your baby's really hungry and screaming and needs to eat, then that's why you're in a hurry. And not every moment of your life can be or your toddler's life can be like a super slow, mindful moment. Sometimes there are moments where you do need to hurry and you do need to get somewhere and you need to fill your tank before you can be fully present with your toddler. So that's why I think sometimes for parents to be able to say, hey, I am going to eat something, before I go and try to feed these two under two. Because if my tank's not full and I'm starving, I'm going to be a lot less patient and be really annoyed because I want to, I need to eat so I think it is important that you handle what you need to handle. You fill your own tank before you can then be really slow and present and mindful. I think a lot of parents end up sacrificing what they need to put their kids first, but then it's harder to be in these moments. So if you do have a hungry baby, maybe that's not the moment where you can be the most mindful with your toddler. But I do think there might be other moments where you're just hurrying just to hurry. And this one happened to be, okay, the other baby, if whatever they really need, they need. So I think just first asking yourself, why am I in a hurry? And if it's like a slight discomfort, like I'm too hot or I'm too cold, or I just feel like I want to sit down, or I just want to get to the next thing, then taking that breath and saying, I can handle that. I can handle that discomfort, even if it's just the other baby crying,
Right.
for no real reason, like just a sound, just an unpleasant sound. I can handle that. I can move patiently. But if your other baby needs to eat, then that might not be the moment
Right.
where you can be fully, present and mindful with your toddler. And maybe the moment happens 20 minutes later after the baby's fed.
Right. And you can say, all right, let's go. Get in.
Yeah. 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 And I'm not, I think one thing that a lot of parents are really good at, and I lost my imagination. I think like some parents, I think, can find it really easy to create like a fun imagination game where you could be like, oh, why don't you run in the house and see if you can find, I don't know, 4 things that are green
Right.
or whatever. And just to get her up the stairs. Like, admittedly, I'm not great at that, but sometimes you can do a thing that's like getting them in the house, getting them to do what you want without being like, come on, how many times do I have to tell you?
Right.
Like, get over here, enough.
Chop, chop.
But if you have to do that sometimes, I also don't want her to beat herself up about it.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of, sometimes you got to move. And that doesn't mean you're not a good mom. It doesn't mean you're not going to be present overall, or you're not going to have those moments of enjoying her moving slow. And it is so sweet. Like, I know exactly what she's talking about. Like, she dropped a little, like, weed dandelion that she found so precious. And she has to like walk back 20 steps, which takes her, 90 seconds to go pick it. It's like, it does feel like your life should be getting somewhere, but that is the moment of your life. So it is very sweet to watch them just being in the moment, and you almost feel badly interrupting it. And sometimes you have to, and sometimes you don't. So I think the first step is noticing which one of those moments it is, and then telling yourself, if it is one of those moments where you can't let her just, walk around doing whatever she feels like, then just saying, we need to fill our tank as a family, meaning like the baby, herself, if she has a partner, we all need to fill our tank, and then we can be fully present.
Okay. So is there an intention in there, or is it like
Yeah. I mean, to me, the intention is just first stopping and asking herself, why am I hurrying?
okay.
So that she can figure out, is this just habitual hurrying? Or this exact situation that she's describing, I don't think was just habitual hurrying. She said her other baby needed to eat. So that's not like habitual hurrying. There's a reason why she's hurrying. The other baby's hungry. But also, depending on how hungry the other baby is, I think you can do the thing where you say, okay, this is an uncomfortable sound. This other baby's crying, but I can handle that. Whatever the discomfort is that's making her hurry, unless it really is an urgency, Take a breath, relax the shoulders, relax your face. I can handle this. And then letting her kind of move slowly if the moment feels like it's the right moment. But also forgiving herself if there isn't. If it's not that moment can't necessarily be every moment.
Right.
Sometimes you do have to do things in it more quickly.
Love that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with that. This too shall pass.
Yeah. But I think for everybody, honestly, like checking yourself. Why am I hurrying? When you notice you're getting annoyed because you ordered a bagel and it's taking too long and you're like, but where am
You have
I
nowhere
actually? To go. Yeah. Okay. Take a breath. Smell the smell of the bagel shop. Look around, notice the colors in the space and chill.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, sometimes if you really have a meeting to get to, fine, you have a meeting to get to. But a lot of times we don't. We just hurry out of habit.
Right. And for me, sometimes it's like this like efficiency thing. Like you're just kind of like, there's this sense of like you need to be doing something at every moment. And when you're waiting, you're not doing anything.
Yes. The waiting is great. Waiting is a moment for change. Waiting is a moment where you can like rewire your brain to notice like it's okay to be doing nothing. I don't always have to be accomplishing the next thing. It's a moment where mindfulness is carved into your day.
Right.
So seek out those moments where you're waiting, notice what your mind does with it, wants to do with it, and then kind of rewire and say, it's okay to do nothing. It's okay to just stand here and breathe in and breathe out. It's built in mindfulness. Because if you save, say, 90 seconds because you're leaning in at the counter, giving the guy the stink eye, like
Right.
waiting for your bagel, and he gives it to you a little bit sooner because you're making him uncomfortable, you're just going to use that 90 seconds when you get back to wherever you're going to then rush into the next thing after that. Or like plan the next thing. It's not like you're going to really, without intention, going to ever recoup those 90 seconds as restful.
No, it's true. Yeah, you're just wasting them by being irritated.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
All right. Well, let's do some triggers.
All right.
Okay. I will read our first one. Jordana and Dr. Naomi, thank you for your weekly insights. I listen every week and I've been so enjoying hearing your words of wisdom. I would love to get your take on something that just happened today, and I am at the same time laughing about and fuming over. I'm about to move across the country and went out for a goodbye brunch with 4 girlfriends. 3 out of 5 in the group were vegan or vegetarian. A 4th was vegetarian for 7 years, but isn't now. I asked, is it weird if I order the steak and eggs when I'm sitting in between a vegan and a vegetarian? The response was, absolutely not. Love that for you. It's just not for me. It was all in good spirits. I did get the steak and eggs, and we got a mimosa tower too. An awesome final send-off. During the meal, I saw the table next to us looking over and watching us multiple times and thought it was odd, but whatever. I went to the restaurant's page shortly after our brunch to leave a 5-star review and saw the following review that had also just been recently posted. I'm quite positive it was made by that table that kept staring. I want to make it clear that we weren't drunk or obnoxious. The Mimosa Tower gave us 2 drinks each. So here's the review. We had an unbelievable experience on a perfect patio day. The food was great, but what made the experience even better was the service and suggestions from the waiter. She's an absolute gem. She was engaging, but not intrusive, and just the perfect amount of attentive. We will be back, and hopefully on a day when we can get more great suggestions from her. One downfall was the table next to us being the most insufferable gaggle of people. I heard vegan and vegetarian more times in the hour we sat beside them than I have in my entire life. I didn't realize this many people were giving like reviewing restaurants like constantly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've ever reviewed a restaurant ever, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We definitely did discuss the vegan and veggie. This is her writing to us now. We definitely did discuss the vegan veggie diets, but it was all super non-judgmental. And I found it to be very interesting as a meat eater. For example, what if cricket farms had become bigger? It's better for the environment. Would it be more ethical? But we also discussed so many other unrelated topics in the 2 hours we were there. It's unbelievable to me that someone would be so bothered just by being in the vicinity of a vegan that it would impact their experience to the point that they would claim us insufferable. I'm sure if we'd been discussing our favorite butchers, they wouldn't have cared at all. So I'm curious, what's your take and how would you rate it? Signed, Zero Beef with the Vegans.
Oh my gosh.
This is crazy.
This is just funny that she happened to that this restaurant, like you said, got 2 reviews in like the same day.
Right? Like how many reviews are people just review? Do you know anyone who's just like reviewing restaurants all the time?
I mean, I'm not I appreciate them because I read them and I get information, but I don't ever think to do it. I guess it is a nice thing to do. It's like a community service in some ways. But anyway, I think the fact that they use the word gaggle is offensive.
Yes. I mean, they said insufferable.
Insufferable gaggle of people. Yeah, this was not nice. Obviously, she never thought you would ever see it. And it just, I don't know. I don't think it's extremely triggering because it's just, you don't know this person. It's rude. You're never going to see them again. You had a great time. You know the truth of how you guys were. And if they're going to sit next to a table the whole time and let you ruin their time, just tune out. Like, have your own conversation.
Right.
It's not like you were doing anything that was so offensive. You know, I think it's the idea that the concept of being vegan was being judged, or, you know,
that they were
the
constantly
content of their
talking about it or
conversation.
something, or like
Yeah.
maybe they were a little louder than she thought. I mean, it's a group of girls. Whenever I'm with like a group of girlfriends, we're always like a little louder because we're like excitedly talking to each other. It's not like you're on a one-on-one. Just like I think the more people who are at a table, the louder you're speaking. I don't think it meant they were like wasted or anything. But it's crazy to even include that in the review just because it's not even helpful to anyone else who's right. Like, oh, that there's always vegans there talking loudly about being vegan.
Yes, right. Watch out. Don't go here. Yeah, it was totally an unhelpful part of the review. I think their table probably thought it was really funny. They were probably eavesdropping the whole time. It was almost like, it's like the type of thing where once you notice something, then you're like tuned in and now you're going to keep noticing it. And now it's going to be like a thing.
Right.
That, oh, there it is again. Oh my God, vegan again. Oh, vegetarian again. Oh my God, those people, that's all they can talk about. Like, I almost feel bad for them. They ruined their own brunch by focusing too much on your conversation.
Right.
That's their loss. You guys had a great time. I get this is annoying and it was rude, but I'm going to not give it the highest rating because it's kind of irrelevant. And
yeah, I would give it like a 2 or a 3 because I actually think, again, in these kinds of situations, you almost get more entertainment out of it than it is insulting.
Yes.
Like I would just screenshot it, send it to all the people at the brunch and be like, oh my God, like this, like how fun, like this would be just like a funny story that you guys, anytime there's something offensive that just turns into like a story that you can keep kind of like reminding each other about and becomes like this funny inside joke, I think is like worth its insultingness.
Totally. And I bet that's what this other person was doing. They probably screenshotted their own review and sent it to their own table of people and said, look at what the review is that I posted. I doubt she just posted this and didn't share it with anybody because that would just be her own, you know, like I think it was part of their table's inside joke that all they kept talking about was vegan, vegetarian. So everyone had a laugh. Yes, this was rude. She probably never thought you were going to see it, but yeah, I agree. I'll give it a 3.
Agreed. All right, let's do one more.
All right, I will read the last one. Hi, ladies. Would love to hear your thoughts on this triggered scenario. I've been getting my nails done by the same girl for over a year now. She does a great job, but I usually request she tweak the shape length slightly. While she was still filing, I asked her to go a little shorter and less pointy. I understand that there's a point during the manicure where changes cannot be made, and we were not at that point yet. She freaked out and said, I always want to change everything. Why didn't I tell her earlier, etc. It was as if she had been bottling this up for months and finally snapped. I was so taken aback and uncomfortable. I apologized, but later felt so irritated by this. I feel like there's a general culture of not being able to ask for what you want at the nail salon, but I don't agree with that when I am paying for a service. I decided that maybe she was just having an off day and went back to her a few weeks later for my next manicure. She did the same thing when requested to file a little shorter. I think I officially need to see someone else at this point, but how triggering is this? I asked so nicely and was again taken aback by her response/anger with me. Thanks for all you do. Grieving the breakup with my nail tech bitch.
It's funny. I feel like she might be the issue. I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, like clearly this woman, I think she's right. This woman has been thinking like this woman's that you're annoying, asking her for all these changes like for a long time. And then suddenly she was like, it's almost like reminds me of the woman with the daughter who's moving slowly, where maybe like those other times she either like didn't feel comfortable or she was like not in a rush. And this time maybe there's like a lot of people behind you.
Right.
And she doesn't really have the patience to be fixing every other thing. But I mean, twice in a row, maybe she's trying to get you to pick someone else.
Yeah. Or I also think it's almost, I could see the nail tech writing in and being like, I have this person. She comes to me every 2 weeks. I do her nails every 2 weeks. And every single time there's like a little something that she wants to get changed. And I could see the nail tech feeling like, are you just doing this just to do it? Which there's a tiny part of me that thinks might be true because she talks about
She's paying for a service. She wants it done the way she wants it done. Yeah.
yeah. So she might, I don't know if maybe she had an experience in we're talking about the trauma of nails, but we're going to go there. Okay. She might have had an experience in the past where she was getting a service of some sort and she felt too shy to speak up, or maybe someone she knows. You know, we all know those people that go get their nails done and then they come home and they're like, I didn't like it. Or, you know, you get a massage and you're like, oh, it was terrible. It was way too hard. And you're like, well, why didn't you just
cut your hair and you didn't like it, but you tell them you loved it. Right.
Yeah. Right. So maybe she either knows someone who went through that or she went through that. And so now she's kind of like, when I have a slightest feeling of wanting something to be slightly different, I'm going to come right out with it because it's like a principle of the matter. Like I'm paying, I get to say exactly what I want.
Those are the people on the list. I think of like, don't take that woman. Well, here's the thing. I think you can be that person if you tip really well.
Yeah. Yes.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what her tipping is. She didn't really discuss that. But like, I could see if she requests the specific woman every week. She sees her every week. She's constantly asking for all these changes and she's like not tipping well. I could see the nail tech being like, I got to get this woman to pick someone else because it's not worth. I think if you're going to be like particular, like you should be generous.
Totally. I think that's a great point. I agree. I think this would all be solved with an extra $10 on the tip.
And if the tip was good enough, I think the nail tech would be quiet about it.
Yeah. Because she'd want you to come back because she'd know that you're a good tipper. I totally agree with that. I do think that at some point, if you're using this woman every week, she wants to feel like, I know what I'm doing. I know how you like your nails done. I'm going to do it the way you want it because you keep coming back to me. We have an agreement on how we kind of are going to do this. So if you keep coming to her and every time she's feeling like she's not doing it right, that might be just annoying her. But yeah, if you like her, I think you can salvage this by giving her a really big tip the next time you come back in. But obviously you don't like her that much because you're changing pretty much every time you go in.
Right. Maybe
you're giving
find
her
someone whose work you like as is.
Yeah, exactly. I get it. She'll have to start from scratch with someone else.
Yeah, it's a little
give them feedback.
It's a little jarring to be like kind of yelled at by someone who's like doing like you're paying to do something.
Oh yeah, so. I once got yelled at by a nail by a nail tech because I got my nails done and I like, you know, it was like regular nail polish and I smudged it.
Oh yeah.
I hate
asking them to fix it, but then like,
she fixed it. And then this is actually in my defense, this was like around that 2 under 2. I remember I had my kids in the place with me and I smudged it and she fixed it and then I smudged it again. And she was like, "You're like a baby." So, I got scolded for smudging my nails. Yeah.
Well, maybe you were more careful after that. I don't know. I've been that person too. The second time, I'll usually just like eat it. I think I'll just like, all right, this is the nail now, I guess.
Yeah, this is what it looks like.
Well, that's why that's the only benefit of getting gel is that it like, then there's none of that. You don't have to wait for it to dry. It's the best. Yeah. But also the worst. I get it.
That
someone needs to invent something that comes off easily that is also a gel like
substance.
Please.
Yes.
I will do it. My nails get destroyed whenever, and I could see it grow out, like the part that was destroyed by, I don't know if it was the gel itself or my
Yeah.
picking
It's
off
the
the
picking.
gel. Yeah.
I have that too. I'm very impatient. All right. Well, we'll have to,
Yeah.
we'll discuss offline your other options.
We'll dive into nail trauma, traumatic nail salon experiences another time. All right. That's our time.
Great work today.